Hey guys. Well, first I wanted to congratulate Josh Metellus just on the new extension. I think so deserving, so proud of him, so excited for him. Like I said the last time we spoke, I don't think there's anybody who's embodied kind of the things we want to, be defensively and as a Viking. So very, very well deserved. I'm excited for him. It's obviously great to have the fans out for the first time Saturday. Had the day off yesterday, and now today's the first day in full pads. It's definitely some excitement about that, where we can play closer to real football, where there's some physicality and we get to work the techniques and fundamentals with pads on, with little contact. So I'm excited about that.
Ryan, what's something that would be an example that's important that you feel like you've learned from KOC about offense since you've been here?
Man, I mean, we could sit here and talk about that for 30 minutes, probably more than that. I think, just his leadership, as the head coach, but also on the offensive side of the ball. There's pillars that, those guys have on that side of the ball, similar to what we have on the defensive side of the ball. The way they meet, the way they walk through, the way they practice. But just being able to walk in his room, in his office, and pick his brain on protection or a route concept, and just his overall leadership of that group, in particular with the quarterback, and that relationship and that, having played the position, he's got a great understanding. And it's funny because I watched him play the position early on in his career, and I know that background, with the quarterback is just it's so good for the quarterbacks, but it's also been fun to watch that. I think he's great relationally with guys. I would say that's his superpower. And this is my time with him has been incredible these last 2 years and this year as well. I've told people this. I think I'm pretty good in some areas, and the areas I'm not as good in, he's really good in. So just kind of naturally, I get better in those areas too. So that's been exciting, and it's been great working with him.
Hopefully about the X's and O's.
I mean, X's and O's wise, he's as good as they get, and just being able to prepare against that on a daily basis has made me a lot better too. So if they're going to do that, we're going to do this, and there's a little bit of a chess match on a daily basis of, how do we attack one another, where's the weakness, but we're doing all that at the same time. How do we get the team better? How do we get the offense better? How do we get the defense better? How do we get individual players better? So there's a lot of dialogue from that standpoint as far as like putting practice together, and I think he does a great job from that standpoint. People ask all the time, how much are you helping KO, having been, in that seat before? He doesn't need a lot of help. So he does a great job, and I'm excited to kind of work with him and learn.
Ryan, how deep do you think this defensive line can be for you?
Only time will tell. I think we've got a group that works extremely hard. There's a lot of talent in the room. I think we know the names like Harrison Phillips and Hargrave and John Allen, but we're excited about some of our young players: Levi, Jalen Redmond, Taki, Ty Ingram Dawkins. But we're getting plays from everybody: Travis Bell, Elijah Williams. We've got a pretty deep room. Unfortunately, they don't all get to play. Just with the limited kind of practice reps, etc. But in individual drills and group drills and in meetings, you see there's growth from each one of those guys, and they're all just working extremely hard to improve, get better. There's a not competition, but just competition. Amongst the group, but individually they're competing with themselves to, be the best versions of themselves and to, really optimize, their time here. So I'm excited about the group. The more guys that can go out there and play at a high level, the better for us as an entire team. And they're all doing a lot of really good things. Excuse me.
Coach, what does Eric Wilson bring to the group? Maybe more from an off-field standpoint, just personality, his experience.
I mean, he's just a guy you want to be around. He's a guy's guy, somebody you just want to, hang out with, in the locker room, in the cafeteria, on the field. You see people gravitate towards him. He's got a great personality, just a great energy about himself. And you need those types of guys on your team to kind of bring the group together. People use the term glue guys. I think he's got the makings to be that. And he loves to play, and I think there's a shared joy and shared love of the game that he and a lot of our guys have, so he's been a great fit.
Ryan, there's been an increase around the league in playing zone coverages over the last couple of years, kind of by the numbers.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is, and then how does that change how you evaluate your cornerbacks, knowing you're going to have to play more zone?
Why? I mean, there's a lot of really good receivers, a lot of really good quarterbacks, a lot of really good coordinators. It's hard to line up and play man-to-man coverage, play after play after play. I think people are trying to limit explosive plays and just try to keep it in front of you. So that's generally why I think there might be a little bit more zone coverage. I think when you're evaluating, corners, when you get down to those critical plays, you can sneak a couple zones in there, but inevitably you're going to have to play some man coverage. So that's still a big part of the evaluation of corners, I would say. But their ability to play zone, high to low, ball skills, a variety of coverage and coverage spots. I think that's, defensive football is moving in that direction where, edge guys are dropping, corners are playing some safety spots, safeties are playing some corner spots, and so on and so forth, if they can handle it. That changes. That could change. Every year there's different trends. We try to stay up on, the different trends, the different, what's in vogue, offensively and defensively, just to see if there's something that we can add or something we have to get ready for. So in previous years, it's been zone coverage, but, oftentimes when an offense, expects something, you want to give them something different. So maybe this year it's all man coverage. So who knows?
Well, any interest in Christian Wilkins? I know you have a history with him.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of history with Christian. I kind of let, Kwesi and his staff and handle, that side. Like we just talked about, I think we got a pretty good group that we feel really good about, D-line wise. But I don't mind adding more. Yeah. So, but, again, I let those guys handle that. I know that's what people are going to say. Flo said he wouldn't mind adding more. That's probably what's going to be the headline. But
let me ask you this: in Miami, what did he do to help you guys out?
It was his leadership. He's, a very good player. Run game, pass game, and he was a sending player, and I think that's what he's become. And I don't know what happened with the injury. I'm hopeful that he gets back healthy and can get out there and play because I know he loves to play. I know that.
Brian, as you were having those conversations with Kevin about what practice is going to look like, how much does that change when you have a quarterback who's starting for the first year in terms of how many different things you throw at him versus having some periods where it's a cleaner look for him to kind of get a base rep for?
All of that's part of the conversation. Obviously in some periods, like we're not going to blitz the 7-on-7, and that's really a coverage period. And I think we want to give him enough looks that it's. Look, I think JJ can handle a lot too, so we've had that conversation. But give him enough looks that he's prepared, and on a progression that the progression that Kevin's looking for. So yeah, that's certainly part of the conversation. But we also, KO is really good about, hey, I know you guys got to get your work too. So there's a lot of really good dialogue and compromise on both sides, to use for lack of a better term, in the spirit of, look, nobody wants us to score more points than me. I'll tell you that makes our job a lot easier. And conversely, we want to limit points too. So I think it's a really good kind of working dynamic from that standpoint.
When JJ's talked about it, it's almost seemed like he's kind of said, the more challenge I get here, it just makes me better. Has that been kind of the conversation he's had with you in terms of the complexity he wants from you guys?
That's been, a big part of the conversation. That hopefully, seeing a lot of different looks, he's ready if he sees that in the game. And then if it's, dial back a little, but he's ready for that too. So, and I think JJ's done a great job. I really do. I think he's got real good command of the offense. I think he's throwing the ball really well. I think he's doing a lot of nice things, and I've liked watching him improve. That's good for everybody.
With Jeff Okudah, why do you think he's bounced around the league to this point?
It's hard to say, without being in each building. I know in his time here, he's been as diligent from on the field, off the field, training room, weight room. He's always looking to do extra film work, film room. He's probably, look around, he's probably out here somewhere working on footwork or something. That wouldn't shock me at all. So I don't know what's happening in other buildings. I know that since he's been here, it's been great to coach him. I think he's getting better. I think he's getting more comfortable within the defense and what we're going to ask him to do. And he's shown up positively, really, in every way. I'm excited to watch him continue to improve. I think he's got a lot of skill. I think that's why he was drafted so high. But again, I can't speak for what else has happened, And honestly, I don't want him to think about that. I want him to think about, today, making some improvement today and trying to put his best foot forward at all times.
What do you want to see from the backup outside linebackers, just Bo Richter, Gabe Murphy, Tyler Batty? What do you want to see with the pads coming on here?
Physicality, at that position. We talk about edge setter setting edges. So looking for that from that group. But also, there's some nuances to that position that when you're, kind of thrust into that role, there's a lot going on. A lot more than, I think people often think, hey, you just line up on a tackle and go. But again, there's a lot of really good offensive coordinators. Edges are dirty, crack block, zone read, jet motion. There's a lot going on. And so formation recognition, communication with one another, because oftentimes something you see is going back to the other guy. Where's the back? Is the quarterback in the gun or under? I think all those tells, that's something that, I think our older guys are in a routine of doing that, and our younger players are starting to get into routine of that, and the more reps they get, the better. So that's what I'm looking for from the outside backer group, but also the D-line group and the younger backers and safeties. And if we can do that, then we put ourselves in position to have a better feel for what they may give us, and then we can play the right technique and fundamental to put ourselves in the best position. So